Hi, I'm Jason Sterling, and I'm getting ready to go on the Carnival Breeze for the Carnival 50th Anniversary Celebration, and I'm making this trip all on my own. I'm traveling solo this time, and so this video is going to be about traveling solo, especially as it pertains to cruising, with a few hints, a few tips, and maybe just a little bit of easing some of the worry that goes along with traveling on your own. Okay, let's get the big concern out of the way right off the bat, and that's safety. No matter when you're traveling on your own, solo, there's always a certain bit of anxiety that you're going all by yourself, and particularly, is it safe? Now, the good news is, from my perspective, from my experience, taking numerous cruises solo, is that cruising is a pretty safe form of travel. You are in a contained environment with people who quickly come to recognize you and know who you are. And there's very little chance of wandering off into an area of misadventure. Typically, there are cameras everywhere and security. Now, that's on the ship itself. There are ports of call. Before we talk about ports of call, though, let's talk about before you even get on the ship. Before you leave, I think one of the key things to do for safety is to let people know where you're going. Let them know the when, the where, the how. Give them an itinerary, and then stay in contact with them while you're on your voyages. It's particularly easy in this day and age of both texting and sending emails, even internationally, to do so. I don't think you have to be attached by an umbilical cord to the United States. You don't have to check in every hour on the hour, unless you want to. But it often can bring the people that you're leaving behind and yourself a greater sense of ease to touch base every so often. Another thing you can do, and this is what I highly recommend, not just in regard to a sense of security, but in order to make it a more enjoyable experience on the cruise. There are Facebook groups for essentially every single cruise out there. I'm going to say essentially because I haven't checked all of the hundreds of cruises that go every single week. But basically, every time I've looked, there has been a page for the cruise that I'm going to leave on. And if there's not, start one. Start your own Facebook page. Chances are other people are going to come along and join up with you. Now, the great thing about joining a Facebook page is, A, you get a certain familiarity with some, not all of them, but at least with some of the other cruisers on your voyage. Also, in the case of this voyage coming up on the Breeze on March the 5th, 2022, that group actually someone started under the events tab a solo cruisers event setup, right? So people who were interested in getting together with others, say for dining, or maybe even just for special event dining, not necessarily the MDR, or to take excursions with, or even just a meet and greet. People can get together and say, hey, I'm traveling solo too. Nice to meet you. And then when you're on the ship, there's a sense that you do know other people around you. You have a friendliness no matter where you go. Now, you don't have to, again, be attached at the hip, and you don't have to do it through a solo event. There are lots of ways to meet people from your Facebook group, either on Facebook through interactions, or most of those groups will have a meet and greet for the group as a whole at a local pub, or they might have, in addition to that, or instead of, say, a shot glass exchange, where the idea is you bring a humorous or an interesting or even just a plain shot glass with you, and you trade them around Dirty Santa style. There's a lot of events like that that will happen through those groups. So if you're traveling solo, no, you don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But if you're traveling solo and you want to have a sense of familiarity with some of the other people on board, it's a great way of doing it. Now, let's get into the reason why you're going. You're going solo. You're having a trip on your own for yourself. One of the great things about that is packing. You've got plenty of room in your room, so go ahead and overpack and go ahead and overdress. A lot of people when they travel solo, I think, are a little concerned about getting too dressed up or too fancy on formal night or on a specialty dinner night or on any night or any day for that matter. You don't have to worry about that. You are going on your own. You don't have to worry about what anyone else thinks about what you wear because there's only you looking in the mirror. And I do encourage people to do that. If you're the sort of person that likes to dress up, don't think because you're going on your own and you're going to go to the dining room by yourself, you're going to eat by yourself that night at a table, go ahead and dress up. Sure, of course you can. But maybe you're just going to spend the night in the casino and you want to have a glamorous evening in the casino. Well, go ahead and do it. Do it. Go ahead and dress up. Pack what you want to pack and don't feel like you have to try to maintain a sort of anonymity and blend into the background so no one will notice that you're all on your own. Which brings me to my next point. No one's going to notice that you're all on your own. This is a cruise. Cruise has thousands of people on board, and it's not unusual, even when people are traveling with another person or a large group, for them to go off on their own and do their own thing. If you're eating by yourself in the MDR or a specialty restaurant or the buffet, anywhere, people will just assume who you're traveling with is maybe ill. Maybe they have seasickness that night. Maybe they just didn't feel like eating that night. So you went on your own. And most people would think that no matter where you go. Even when I'm traveling solo, people will typically ask, when you're sitting in a bar talking, sitting in the lobby, sitting on an excursion talking, we'll typically ask, so who are you traveling with? Because they assume naturally you're going to be traveling with someone else. Now, if I'm alone, I say, well, I'm traveling on my own. I'm going solo this time. But no one will think anything of it from a distance. No one will be concerned. So you don't have to worry about going to a show by yourself, going to dinner by yourself. That's part of the worry you can put aside because nobody's going to think about it. And talking to someone on an excursion, again, sometimes people are worried when traveling alone about the traveling part. Not everything is on board ship. Some of it is in a port of call. Now, not most. Let's say a lot of port of calls in this day and age are designed and look like a California shopping center, open air shopping center. And I can pretty much assure you most of those are pretty safe. Lots of cameras, lots of security. It looks very Americanized. It feels like America, and you're probably going to be about as safe as you would any American city in one of them. But most people do want to get beyond that. Now, there's a lot of ports of call. You can quite safely go out on your own. Go get in a cab, have them take you to, say, downtown in Cozumel. You're going to go to Carlos and Charlie's or something like that. That's perfectly all right. But I would say, as a solo traveler, to make yourself feel better, feel more at ease, and just to be more sensible and be more aware of your surroundings, research where you're going online. You're going to find a wealth of information about whether or not you're traveling to a safe location or what areas of the location are safe versus other areas. The other thing you can do, and I do this a lot, simply take an excursion from the ship. Now, yes, you can buy excursions on your own online. You can buy them at the dock. There oftentimes will be people selling excursions right at the dock. And sometimes even the excursions that people on the ship have purchased and are on as well. You can buy that at the dock. One thing that gives people peace of mind with buying it from the ship is the ship knows where you are. You're on an excursion with a bunch of other people from the ship. It feels, again, familiar. It feels like you know who you're with. And that can give you a sense of ease. And if it's a shipboard excursion, you're going to go to a safe place in a safe vehicle with safe people. Does that mean misadventures never happened in the history of cruising? Probably not. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But in general, you're going to have a great sense of ease and you're going to feel better about it. And you're not going to worry about things if we're late. What if we're late? Oh my God, what if we're late and I'm trapped in Cozumel by myself? If you take a shipboard excursion, they will wait for you. It's the way it works. You don't have to, but it does seem to give people like myself a little bit more of a sense of ease. So I would say do that to make sure that you don't miss out on the adventure of going to the new places you're going to. You don't want to stay on the ship the whole time. But to better miss out on misadventure, I would say don't over enjoy. Most of the time when there is misadventure on a cruise, the story begins and ends with a lot of alcohol. Either the person in question has been at a bar all evening or the casino all evening or drinking all evening in some fashion, and some sort of event takes place that leads to a YouTube video, often a YouTube conspiracy video. So I think you do have to be mindful like you would in any place, even on a cruise ship, even though I think it's safe. You do need to be mindful. Be mindful on the ports, too. If you're going to Carlos and Charlie's, you're going to Senor Frogs, you're going to any place like that. Margaritaville, right? Know when to say no. Know when to ease back on it, especially if you're traveling. I mean, that's good advice for anybody, but especially if you're traveling on your own. Know when to say, hey, I had a really great time. I've had a really great time. And the best way to ensure it stays a really great time is to end it while it's still a really great time, whether on the ship or in port. And I've given that advice to a lot of people that aren't on cruises that were traveling someplace. There was a young lady that was going to travel. She was actually going with a group, and she was going to travel to a resort in Mexico, and she was kind of worried about that, and that was my advice to her. Don't over-enjoy. And she came back fine. Everything was good. So don't over-enjoy, and remember to end while the good time is still good. We're going to end on a high note because I want you to remember the best part of traveling solo is traveling solo. The best part of being on your own is being on your own. Do you feel like eating? Then you just go eat. Do you feel like sleeping? You just go sleep. You feel like shopping? You shop. If you feel like staying up all night long and dancing like nobody is watching, even when there's no music playing, then you go dance. There's never anybody to ask except yourself. You get to decide what you want to do. And that is what I think is the best part of traveling solo. It's one reason why I've always enjoyed it. Now, I enjoy traveling with other people too, especially, as you can see from videos on my site, I love traveling with my son. And I've enjoyed traveling with groups of people before. Gone with groups of people numerous times. I've had a very good time every time I go. But when I travel on my own, I am assured of doing exactly what I want to do when I want to do it. And so that is the best part of traveling alone, which I'm going to do on the Carnival Breeze for the Carnival Sail-A-Bration, their 50th anniversary. Please hit like, subscribe, and notify so that you can follow along on that journey and all the journeys to come. I don't always cruise. Coming up, I have a land tour, as I'll call it, a land cruise on Amtrak. Sometimes I fly to destinations. Got one of those coming up too, to Las Vegas. And sometimes I just drive. Sometimes I put my son in the car and we drive somewhere. So there's lots of adventure out there. Please hit like, subscribe, and notify, and follow me along with it. Be happy to have you with me. And in the meantime, until next time, thanks for watching.